Cancer. So this is for the sun in Cancer or for the rising sign. And I am bringing you 5 key points, 5 key dates, and 5 key life areas that you need to be aware of, Cancer, during the month of August 2023. So let's get started and see what is unfolding for you, because with point 1, I need to tell you about the fact that we have 7 retrograde cosmic bodies from the end of the month. Some of them are already retrograde. Mercury, yeah, I know, Mercury is adding his communicative skills to the retrograde energy. So there'll be revisiting, relooking, reviewing, all of those kind of issues will come up with this energy. And also remember Chiron, that's the wounded healer, that small asteroid. Chiron is also retrograde in Aries. So let's look first of all at point 1. So point 1, we have a full moon in Aquarius. Aquarius is your 8th house. Now this is the part of the chart which is about transformation. What needs to change or transform in your life? To do with perhaps the way you deal with your online banking. Now, why am I saying that? Well, because what I'm thinking is that the 8th house is about finance, because normally in the zodiac, Taurus is the 2nd house opposite Scorpio. So it still has those Scorpio energies in it. Now we've got a full moon here. We've got Aquarius, which can be about technology. Do you need to watch out for online banking scams? You know, they are getting more and more clever at conning us all. I nearly got caught the other day. All it caused me was the cost of a new bank card because I fell for something. It was just, they caught me off guard, but that's what they do. So I'm just saying, Cancer, be mindful, because this full moon may have some of that kind of energy in it. Secondly, this full moon has Mars in Virgo, in your 3rd house of communication, trining, which is helpful. Jupiter, my big outer boy Jupiter, in Taurus, of course that's all about money, in the 11th house of the community at large. And the moon in Aquarius is squaring Jupiter. So the sun in Leo also squares Jupiter. So we have a T-square with this full moon. And what this means is that there is a real kind of fixed energy. And remember, you're cardinal, Cancer. You like to get things done and sorted quick. Also, it's just popped into my head, of course, the 8th house is also about tax. Things like that. You might be doing something about your tax at the moment. You know, different parts of the world do these things at different times of year. And so there may be something of that nature going on. This full moon there in that case could mean that if you absolutely stick to your guns, keep doing what you're doing because it's fixed energy, you'll get it done. And you can bring closure to that situation. Let's look at point 2. Point 2 is the new moon on the 16th. And it's in Leo. And of course, this is your 2nd house. And this is opposite that full moon where it was on the 1st in Aquarius in your 8th house. Interesting how they all link up. It's like a clever kind of sort of combination of things, a kind of maze. Now the sun in Leo for this new moon is squaring my big outer boy Uranus, our planet of the unexpected and shocks. And it's in Taurus, of course, in the 11th. Now let's think about this. This is a new moon. So I would be very careful what you launch into financially at the moment, because even though it's Leo, and Leo is quite gregarious and extrovert, but it is fixed. It's about being mindful. Be careful, Cancer, because Cancer, you might be all kind of like gung-ho for going for it and getting something done. And what I'm suggesting with this energy, even though it's a new moon, is actually be mindful about what you initiate at this time, what you start, what you set off. Mars, however, our planet of action and energy, in Virgo in your house of communication, is trining Uranus in Taurus in the 11th house. So this brings in an element of surprising, assertive talk gets the job done. Now, only you will know what that's about. Let's look at point 3. So point 3 is August the 23rd, when the Sun, our life giver, our life force, our soul, our heart, moves into Virgo, again in your house of communication. So communication is really going to open up a lot this month for you, Cancer. But, there has to be a but. Mercury, our planet of communication, is also in Virgo. And on this day, the 23rd of August, it turns retrograde until September the 15th. So don't worry about Mercury retrograde, because, you know, it can often give us an opportunity to revisit certain things. Maybe you need to, excuse me, slow down. And maybe you need to think about more carefully the words you use when you're communicating, because Virgo is about attention to detail. And Mercury actually rules Virgo, as well as ruling Gemini. So if you think about it, you've got this Gemini energy in the 3rd house, which is normally a Gemini house, and it's Virgo. Mercury rules Virgo, it's retrograde. So really be mindful about the energy and the detail that you put into what you need to communicate about whilst Mercury is retrograde. Retrograde Venus in Leo in your 2nd house of finance is making a square at this point to Jupiter in Taurus in your 11th. You may be wanting to invest in something. Remember, Venus is retrograde. It will come back to this point when it's going back through its shadow point. I think there's no harm in you looking at whatever it is that maybe you need to think about acquiring at this time. But I really would be super mindful about actually buying it at this time, especially also because Mercury is retrograde. Let's move on to point 4. So point 4 is August the 27th. The Sun in Virgo, so as I say, a lot of activity in your house of communication, is in opposition at this point to retrograde Saturn in Pisces in your 9th house. Now the 9th house is about higher education, it's about learning, it's also about truth and justice. And it's the Sun, and Saturn, remember, can be about authority. Is there something like a court ruling that you're waiting for an outcome for? Or something of that nature, just that there have been perhaps there's even been an injustice with somebody you know. Well, this Sun opposition Saturn could see the Saturn energy bringing about a resolution. Might be tough, but it'll bring a resolution. Also, on the 27th, Mars, our god of war, action and energy, moves into Libra. This is your 4th house. 4th house of home and family, bringing balance and serenity. and energy. So I think you better make sure that you have plenty of energy, because it might be with Mars here, your nearest and dearest, if you have one, wants you to do some home renovations. And I do hope that if that is the case, or even if you know you have to do some home renovations, you're not in the northern hemisphere, certainly not in the southern Mediterranean, because it's far too hot for home renovations, and it will still be hot in August. So let's move on to point 5, because point 5, first of all, I just want to mention the 29th of August, because Uranus, my big outer boy of surprise, the unexpected, shock, freedom, rebellion, in Taurus, in your 11th house, hopes, wishes, dreams, projects, turns retrograde from the 29th of August till January the 27th, 2024. Now let me explain a little bit briefly about these retrograde planets, because we're in a cycle at the moment where at the beginning of the year we have really all the planets direct, and then in the second half of the year nearly all the planets, at least the outer planets, are retrograde. It's just a cycle, and at some point it will change and it will shift. It's all to do with the kind of precession of the seasons, of the equinoxes, and all that quite technical stuff. So point 5, as said, full moon, the second full moon of the month, on the 31st in Pisces, makes it a blue moon. It's in your house of higher education, Pisces, the 9th house, which of course is all about, they say, truth and law as well, and travel. It's conjunct retrograde Saturn. If you've been waiting for some sort of judgment, you'll get it round this time. If you've been waiting for a decision from a official kind of body, you'll get it around this time. Retrograde Uranus in Taurus trines retrograde Pluto in Capricorn in your 7th. You could find, maybe not with whatever the full moon brings in, but there'll be something else that you're pleasantly surprised about. And your significant relationships, whether you have a close one or just some very good friends or business partners, will also be very happy and pleased with this surprise information. So there we go. That is what I feel is going to unfold for you during the month of August. So thank you so much for coming to join me, Cancer. I hope you're coping with my new set. I'm trying to get the lighting right. I've probably not got it quite right, but it's a work in progress. It's all been done very hastily to get in this other area of to get in this room to get out of the heat. So, you know, never mind the heat and all that, but I had to get out of it. I certainly didn't want to jump into the fire. So, Cancer, please remember to like, comment and subscribe. And remember, I'm doing a live broadcast on Tuesday, the 1st of August, to have a really good in-depth look at this August energy. So please join me then. And a full moon live on Monday, the 31st. They're both on the same day, so I've just separated them by 24 hours. Okay, thanks so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.